Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Petch Pals with me, producer Petch, the guy who's behind the camera, behind the scenes of Act on This. If you don't know me by now, what you're doing, you should do. I'm everywhere. But if you don't know me, I'm the guy who works with Ross behind the scenes of Act on This. I do all the editing, all the content creation, and I'm the guy in all the forums, just making sure everyone's having a good day. I want to apologize right at the start of this episode that I've got somebody moving in below me. And of all the days they've decided to drill and hammer and saw, today's the day they do it, just as I'm recording. So I've gone down and asked them to be quiet. If you hear that, I do apologize. We have been on a little bit of a hiatus. I rushed out 2 episodes. Well, I say I rushed out. Ross rushed out 2 episodes of Petch Pals recently. The last one being all about first TV role, fast track. And because we've had a new intake of that, of which one of my guests is currently going through the program right now, I've been really busy coordinating all that. So I apologize if you're still here and you're still interested in Petch Pals. Thank you so much. And with that, I would like to introduce my 3 fabulous guests, of whom, if they weren't here, I keep saying it, it would just be me. Ollie said before we went recording, he wouldn't mind watching me talking to myself. I may put that out at some point. But here we have Grace Blackman, Alison Saxton, and Ollie Devote. Guys, welcome to Petch Pals.
Thanks for having me.
How are you all doing?
Good.
Good. Really good.
Yeah, great. I'm up in Scotland at the minute with family.
You're up in Scotland? What are you doing in Scotland?
A little holiday.
Little holiday.
Yeah.
That's all right for some minute.
Yeah, it's nice.
So what we do is we normally go around the room. It's a Zoom. We go around the Zoom and we introduce ourselves. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found Act on This and where you are right now. Let's go ladies first. Grace, Alison, and then Ollie, because that's the way you are on my computer.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is exciting. So I'm Grace Blackman. I'm a London-based actor. I started 11 years ago at National Youth Theatre. Makes me feel very old. Then I went to, because this is all about drama school, I'm telling you about my training. So and I went to Loughborough University to do a BA in drama. Then I went to Arts Ed to do an MA in acting, and then I went to National Youth Film Academy. So that's how I got into acting, really. Act on This, I have no idea how I started. I can't remember. I think I started doing the lives like on the Monday nights, just tuning in on Facebook. Then I thought to myself, I want to find out what all the hype's about. And then I just started and I've been addicted since and just never left. So
how did you find the lives? Like what made you come over to the Facebook group?
I can't remember. I really can't. I just I think my friend sort of shared it on their profile and then I just sort of clicked on it and I started listening to Ross and I was like, he seems like he knows what he's doing. Yeah. And then I think I joined in 2020 when lockdown was sort of starting. So yeah, that's it really.
Nice, short and succinct. Well, welcome, Grace. We're happy to have you here. And Grace is the one that's going through first TV role fast track at the moment. Very quickly, how are you finding it?
So good, like mind blowing. I sort of, because my boss has been away for 3 weeks, so I've rushed through it a little bit and now I'm recapping. I mean, I'm absolutely stuffed when my boss comes back because I've done no work for 3 weeks. I've just been doing acting stuff. But so good. Yeah.
But isn't that the goal though, to do acting so you can get out of that kind of job?
Exactly. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, it's really nice, like where I work at the moment, they're really supportive. So whenever I say I've got an audition, like, yeah, we've got you covered, off you go. So that's really nice. I'm filming next week, so amazing. They've let me have that off. So yeah.
It's so good when you find a job like that. I've had so many jobs where you go, look, I've got an audition or I've got an acting gig and they just look down the nose at you. I've even had someone like go, it's either us or you're acting. I was like, bye.
Yeah.
Oh well. No, it's good that you have that kind of support there from work.
Yeah.
Alison,
it's really good.
Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, and Grace says she feels old. I now feel really old after that comment.
You're only as young as the man you're feeling, Alison.
Tell me about it. Well, yeah, training wise, I mean, I was one of those people who I knew from being like 2 that I was going to be an actor. There was no other options other than nurse or American GI, because I watched GI Blues when I was about 4. Yeah. and wanted to be one. I don't know what I was thinking.
You can still be one.
I liked the hats. I think it was the hats. I liked the hats. But I then, obviously, I went to college because there was nothing at school. In fact, they wanted me, my careers advice thing came out that I should be a prison governor. Yeah. Wow. I don't know how that happened with the question, with the answers I gave. It's like one of those computer test things. And I was supposed to be a prison governor. So I ended up going to college because it was the first year that GCSEs started as I left school. And I did a GCSE in drama, and I just met a really great drama teacher who, you know, sort of suddenly made me realize that there was this path I could go on. Because at that point, you know, equity was still a closed shop.
Yeah.
And you had to have, like, you know, something ridiculous like 500 hours of paid work before you could get an equity card, but you needed an equity card to get paid work.
500 hours, yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of insane. And the only way really was to go to an accredited drama school, because that would get you an equity card as you left.
Yeah.
The problem with that was I came from a very working class family. You know, nobody in my family had ever been to university at all. They just basically left school and that was it, and went into work. So I didn't know what to do, because where I lived in Bradford, it was one of the only places that didn't have the Dada Awards as they were. I don't even know if they still exist.
Yeah, they still exist. Yeah.
They were the only place that didn't.
Can I just ask, because I'm from Bradford, whereabouts in Bradford are you from?
Well, I was born in St Luke's and I lived in Little Horton for many years, and then I lived in Clayton, Great Horton, and then Clayton. But I live in Bridlington now in East Yorkshire.
That's nuts, because I lived in Wibsey, so you were literally just down the road from me. Yeah.
Which school did you go to?
I went to Wibsey Middle, and then I went to Wycliffe Mount, which is over in Cleckheaton.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. I went to...
I lived in Bradford for about 3 months.
No,
did you?
There you go.
I went to Rose Mount School in Thornton.
I know that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Grace, have you been to Bradford?
No, I've always wanted to go.
Well, if you're from there, I have to say, if you're from there, it's not Bradford, it's Bradford as a T.
Bradford, yeah. Bradford.
Yeah. Mm. But yeah,
the curries are amazing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. But they didn't do the awards, so there was no funding. And I applied to drama schools just because I thought maybe if I get in somewhere, then I'll find a way.
Yeah.
But I think I knew already that they were very different to me. And, you know, because I mean, this is 30 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a long time ago. And they were all posh. They were all, you know, very, very different. And I was pretty sure I wasn't going to get in. So my tutor said to me, look, go do a degree. He said, then you could think about maybe doing a postgrad afterwards. And I did. And I applied for a degree and got in straight away without any hassles.
Nice.
By that point, I was early 20s, so I was classed as a mature student. But it was absolutely the right time for me. I know. Over 21, you see, for financial reasons, you're classed as a mature student. You don't have to rely on your parents, basically, because otherwise it's their income that's classed for your funding. Yeah. So I just went off and did 3 years of a degree. I went to Aberystwyth in Wales, which was fab, because I lived by the sea for 3 years, and it was awesome. And we got to do pretty much everything. From talking to people who were at drama school, we did pretty much everything, except we had the theory in there as well.
Yeah.
So I kind of, from that perspective, don't feel like I've missed out. And then after that, I left and I went into acting for a little bit, but then I got caught by the teaching bug, and I was earning a nice income.
Yeah.
And I got caught by that for about 15 years or so. And then I was teaching BTEC theatre study, BTEC drama, and I was watching all these amazing kids coming through going, this is awesome, but I don't want to teach it. I want to do it.
Do it, yeah.
So I basically packed my job in,
Love it.
moved back in with my parents in my mid 30s.
God.
Brilliant.
And just started all over. But then I had a kid. I had my first and only child at 40. And that obviously changed everything in terms of what I did.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. You know, I'm now 50. I've kind of built things up a little bit, but how I found out on this, I'm the same as you, Grace. I can't remember exactly.
No idea.
I know I did Bulletproof Actor.
Yeah.
because I knew I was missing out on stuff. I knew that there was a whole business side to this that I didn't get.
So just for our viewers who may not know, Bulletproof Actor is a course that Ross released a good, I want to say 5 years ago now. It will
be that, at least when I did it.
Yeah. I think, were you the first one? One of the first ones?
I think we might have been the second intake. Yeah.
It's a mindset course. Ross is really big on positive mindset, but not just airy-fairy, wish for it and it will happen kind of mindset. It's all science-backed, and there's like proof there. And it's a really in-depth course, which I think we will be releasing again later this year. Sorry, Alison, carry on.
No, I mean, it was really incredibly helpful, because I think most actors, if we're honest, we have a problem with how we perceive ourselves.
Yeah.
And because everything that we do is based on feedback that we generally don't get.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for someone to say that was great, and nobody does, because you're doing your job and it's fine. But for us, we're like, oh, I must have been doing that wrong. Oh no. Or there's the imposter syndrome that creeps in. And so for me, the Bulletproof Actor was a really good way of kind of addressing those things that I'd been kind of doing forever, and just not realizing that I was the one holding myself back.
Yeah.
And then of course it also introduced me to the rest of the Act On This stuff, which I can't tell you how important that is. If you actually do what it says, you know, I went from no TV credits to, what have I got now? 5 or 6 TV credits.
And good credits.
Good credits, yeah. I mean, you know, I've been on Corrie twice. I've got 2 Netflix dramas under my belt. You know, it's all there.
Yeah.
And it, you know, unfortunately, COVID came in and kind of got in the way a little bit of momentum. But if you do it, it does work. That's all I can say.
I mean, speaking of COVID, like, yeah, it did come in and mess up a bit of momentum, but it put us all on an even playing field. Like, it messed up everyone. So, do you know what I mean? We're all starting from the same place now, which is fantastic, I think. What about you, Ollie? Tell us about yourself.
Right, bloody hell. So my journey into acting hasn't been normal, I would say. It's not something I wanted to do at school or anything. I did do a play. I was really excited because I got to play the March Hare in Alice of Wonderland. I literally went, yes, when I got it, and my mates took the piss out of me.
That's a great part.
Yeah, I was well happy. But I didn't take it at GCSE. I kind of went a bit wayward and kind of got into drugs and stuff. And, you know, I was a bit of my dad passed away and that, so I kind of struggled with things at teenage years. So I joined the army to kind of put myself on the straight and narrow, which partly worked, partly didn't. And then I left the army. I'm not going to talk about that because that's a whole 2-hour chat just on that. So
that's something I want to talk to you about at some point, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story, but it's maybe not for now. So yeah, when I left the army, I did a play. I went somewhere and I did a play, and the guy, the actor director from Northern Ireland called Dan Gordon, brilliant man, said I had a bit of a talent, which was nice of him. And he kind of put me in touch with people at Northern Stage to help me do kind of audition technique and stuff, and get me to drama school. I auditioned everywhere, having not really had any experience, just in one play really. Went to RADA and got 4th round there, and got recalled at Guildhall and Lambda and Bristol Old Vic and like loads of amazing schools. And I didn't know the prestige of these schools. I was just a fucking bloke from the... Sorry. I was just a bloke from... Told you it was hard, didn't I?
It's fine. This was going to be a blue episode.
Yeah, this guy. Just the guy who'd been in the army and stuff and was a bit mixed up, and did well at these schools, got offered Birmingham and got offered Manchester. And then I didn't... So I deferred from Birmingham. I accepted Birmingham, but I deferred for a year because my son was due to be born. And then I thought I'd audition at schools that I hadn't been to yet. So I auditioned at Resamd, which was Resamd then. It's what's it called now? Royal Scottish Conservatoire or something. Yeah, so it's called that now. I auditioned at Man Met and then kind of left it there, when really maybe I should have re-auditioned at the schools that I felt good about from the year previous, but I didn't really know what I was doing.
No.
First year got 4th round of RADA. Maybe I should have gone back, but like what Alison was saying, I didn't really fit in. I think they just like the idea of a bit of rough. Do you know what I mean? someone that would like have a bit of a checkered past and
life experience.
Yeah, exactly, all that sort of stuff. And I started, so I deferred Birmingham and then got offered Manchester and kind of said, sorry, Birmingham, I'm going to go to Manchester. It just felt better.
Yeah.
So I went there and I started when I was nearly 24. So,
Mature
I
student.
mature student, which I was absolutely not mature at 24. I still don't think I am now at 37. So did that. And then I had a bit of a up and down time at drama school. Personal circumstances again kind of mixed things up, and it made me question the reasons for going and whether I should have gone back and this, that, and the other. But I mean, we can get into it in a bit. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I graduated in 2011, and act on this. I'm still on one of the early membership fees because I've been a member of Act on This for so long and kind of dipped in and out of it and thought that there's been times when I've gone, this however much money a month, I could probably not do with spending that. I'm not listening to stuff at the minute. But then the fear of going to a higher payer band has kept me in. And I'm glad it has, because there's some absolutely cracking content, and the community, first and foremost, is one of the things that gives you the value. Even if you're not a paid member and you're just on the Facebook group, it's amazing. Yeah. The advice and kind of stuff you can get from it is really useful. So yeah, that's me, and I got to here.
And you've got some pretty decent credits under your name now as well, haven't you, Ollie? Yeah.
I've done all right. Yeah, I think out of the people I graduated with, I'm one of the consistent performers, so I'm pretty happy there. Yeah.
No,
I would talk about it, but we always have to validate ourselves as actors, don't we?
Well, if we're not going to get validation from anywhere else, we might as well give it to ourselves, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, yes, if you haven't guessed already, this episode is going to be all about drama schools. The reason I came to wanting to do this episode was recently, you will have heard about it, Alra has shut its doors. And as far as I can tell, I don't really know why they shut the doors. I've heard rumors. I don't really want to go into it, but they got a email at 8:30 in the morning saying, that's it, done, which is quite shitty, if I'm honest about it. And I saw one student go on BBC and said we were paying approximately £14,000 a year. A year. So where's that money gone? And are we going to get it back? Which then brings me back to that age-old question that actors I always see in the Facebook group or on live calls is drama school really worth it? I haven't been to drama school, therefore I won't make it, or I have been to drama school and I spent all this money and I'm still struggling for my first TV credit. So I did put a question up in our Facebook group recently asking for people if they had been or hadn't been, and just to be honest. And the totals are 39 people said yes, they'd been to an accredited drama school. 68 hadn't been to an accredited drama school, but of that 68, 34 had some kind of formal training, whether that be university or some kind of degree. And 34 had no training whatsoever. By no training, I mean no like formal training. They have been to like acts for TV, Act Up North, like weekly screen classes and things like that. So you guys are all from various different backgrounds. Me, myself, I'll let you know about mine. I got a A in GCSE drama. That's where I fell in love with acting. I went to college, did a BTEC National Diploma. At college, I then got into the National Youth Theatre, did a week's intensive course at the National Youth Theatre. Nothing really came of that. I then fell in love and worked in a bank for 7 years. As you do. I had been auditioning for drama school for quite some time. I did them all the accredited ones, East 15, Guildhall, Lambda, Rose Bruford, Webber Douglas when that was still around, Bretton Hall. Some of these schools just aren't around anymore, which, you know, is quite scary. Now Alra's gone as well, which leads me to think, is drama school really, is it in trouble? Lambda, rather, there was 1 year I got through to the final round of Lambda and just didn't get in. So then I kind of gave up on the idea of going to drama school, but I was like so many actors thinking, drama school's it's the way in. I'm going to get an agent at the end of it. Like, people won't take me seriously if I don't go to drama school. My dad died in 2009, and I took a long look at myself thinking, I'm spending every day of my life unhappy. I'm just going to go for it. So I auditioned for a touring pantomime. Didn't hear anything for ages. I went on holiday. I broke a rib. So that meant even more time off work. And like, the universe
What did you do
does
that
this.
for?
Well, why did I break a rib?
Yeah, why did you try to do that?
Just a bit of fun, wasn't it? I'd never done it before. I wanted to know what it felt like. Punching a lung. I wouldn't recommend it. No, I was filming a short film that I'd written, actually. And part of it was me running down a riverbank, and my foot hit some like a wet rock. I went in, and there was a pointy rock like that went straight into my rib, punctured my lung. But it just meant more time off work. And as I was saying, the universe does this kind of thing. It was whilst I was off on holiday and off recovering for that in that long period, I got an email from the company saying, yeah, we want you to play buttons in this touring panto. So I was like, sweet. So I gave in my resignation. So I never went back to work after that holiday. And then, yeah, kind of did that for a few years, touring. I was technically a working actor. I was touring throughout the school calendar. When schools were out, I was doing tours of old people's homes. And when that wasn't a seasonal thing and schools were still out, I did like a student film. Bradford University is absolutely amazing. They pay actors for their second year short films. So I was getting a wage from acting. And then I was like, right, I've done that for a while now, and I need some kind of more training. So I started auditioning for drama school again. Went to Alva, believe it or not. And on the panel at Alva was a principal for another drama school that I just started up. And she came to me as like, I'm doing a 1-year intensive prep course. We're not putting you through to the next round of Alva, but I'd like you on this course. So I did that. It was a 1-year intensive. They say it was part-time. It was basically full-time. So that's my training in a nutshell. And then from there, I've done like the acting classes, Act Up North, Inspire, Act for TV. Done quite, a lot of them really. So we're all from different points of view here. So let's end this debate right now, guys. Drama school, is it worth it? Is it not?
It depends.
Depends.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay, my thoughts, whether I'll just throw my thoughts out there. If you agree with them, please let me know. If you disagree, please let me know, because I'm here for the education as well, especially from the guys that have been to drama school. I think drama school, if you're looking for a theatrical career, if you want to work on stage, be that straight plays or musicals, definitely musicals, then you need that kind of training. It will teach you how to control your voice, how to look after your voice, how to project your voice, how to move, how to sing, how to dance. It'll give you all that, which I think, is there another training where you can get that that's not as expensive as drama school? I honestly don't know, but those are the benefits I find for drama school. If you're wanting to work in TV and film, and if you want to know about the business side of acting, I don't think drama school is all that, but please let me know what you think.
I think it's a funny
agree.
one. I think like the current climate, the way things are, drama school isn't as relative. And I reckon when I went, I had lower fees. Like the fees were, for me, were $3,000 a year.
$3,000 a year?
Yeah. Something like that anyway.
Did you do the 3-year course? So was that like
I did the
$9,000?
Yeah. And it's a student loan, so I don't really have to pay it back until you've earned it. So, do you know what I mean? I kind of feel like it was just for free anyway. Yeah. But now it's a whole different kettle of fish. I think for someone who's from a background that, me personally, having no kind of inclination to go off and be an actor. I mean, I did some Victoria Wood sketches with my sister for my mum and her parents. I played Mrs. Overall
excellent.
As a 7-year-old.
Please say they're recorded. I need to see these.
Unfortunately not. It's a shame. But yeah, so for me, it was a way to actually start to understand what it means to be an actor. And it's useful. I mean, whether it's for TV or not, acting is acting. The difference is distance of communication and technique. So to do it every single day for 3 years, you're only going to improve as an actor. Having said that, it isn't necessary. I mean, looking back, I lost a level of rawness and intensity and vitality, you know, because it got kind of hammered out with you, hammered out by technique. Yeah. And it's almost like you learn those techniques and it strips you away, and then years after you leave, you have to build it back up and find your unique self again.
I've heard this from people that have said that they've gone to drama school and they found it useful, but when they all graduate, they are all like clones of each other. So what makes them spark as an actor, because let's face it, we all have to bring an element of ourselves to the characters that we play. But what makes them unique as an actor is kind of being stripped away, and they do have to find themselves. So you can tell somebody who's been to Radi, you can tell somebody who's been to Lambda.
That's the point though, isn't it? Because realistically, what we're looking at here is, it's not about, is drama school any use? Is the teaching that you're getting at drama school any use?
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think that's been a huge sort of mind blow thing for me was discovering, I think it was Simon Trinder from ICAT who said, you know, he talks about an actor's toolbox, and that all these techniques are simply tools that you can put in your toolbox, and when you need them, you use them. But for a lot of people, some of the techniques that they teach at different drama schools won't work for you as an actor because of how you connect. I'm very instinctive, so for me, a lot of the techniques are taught, you know, like Ollie said, just they take away that edge and that freshness that you bring as a performer. But if you've got the confidence to go, that's great, but it's not me, that's wonderful. But a lot of people who go to drama school are incredibly insecure about their own performance and their own ability, and are sort of kind of taken in by these big personalities. I've spoken to a few people who've been to drama schools, and I mean, obviously this was some time ago, but you know, they've come out not themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned ICAT there. Just for the people who don't know what ICAT is, could you just briefly explain?
Yeah, it's the Independent Centre for Actor Training, and it's a guy called Simon Trinder, who is a fab actor. He works with the Royal Shakespeare Company a lot. Really, really talented. And he's also worked with Mike Alfreds a lot. And so he's big into actioning and all of that, but in a slightly different way than you might have come across it before. And I did a couple of courses with them. They were originally based in Bolton, and then they were in Manchester. And they sort of do things both in London and Manchester and all over now. I did their Shakespeare intensive a few years ago, which was fantastic. I got to work with Jeanette Nelson, who's the head of voice at the National Theatre, and with Adjoa Ando, who is now in Bridgerton, who's fantastic as well. And so for me, you know, again, it was just taking the stuff that works and going, I can use that. Actually, that doesn't work too much for me. And just being able to go, yeah, okay. But yeah, I found them really helpful as well in terms of looking at how do you develop as a performer and as a business.
It's interesting when you've got a drama school that's synonymous with a certain kind of methodology, like East 15 are very well known for having like that method approach. And Pete, you said there, Petch, that you can tell a RADA actor. I don't think that's necessarily true, but there's a bit of a cliche with that, isn't there? There's a bit of like a myth about, oh, a RADA actor is a RADA actor. But that's why I chose Man Met, because they did a broad spectrum of different techniques, you know, and for different people you work with, okay, maybe doing lab and effort actions might not work with this particular director, and I might not connect to it in this part of my life. But then I might do a different production, which is more focused on physicality or this, that, and the other, or the language that the director uses is different. Oh, I've got toolboxes for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the difference between, I think, reading about the theory of acting and then going to drama school is you get to do it. You know what I mean? The exercises that are in the books, you can't do them sat in your bedroom. You know what I mean? So I think some kind of training is vitally important, whether it's at a drama school or not, at a group local to where you are, or something a bit more formal than that. Is, I think you have to try and improve. It's difficult to just rock up on set.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think every actor should be training. I think the Americans do it so well. If they're not in anything, they are constantly in some kind of class, 2 or 3 classes
Yeah.
a week. So I don't think, I'm not going to sit here and say, don't train, like just be instinctive. I think everybody needs that training, especially when it comes to TV and film, because you've got to know what different lenses you're using, like how your performance is, and things like that. But
where do you stand on people being picked off the street then for roles? Because some amazing, like there's a film Fish Tank from years ago. Girl was just picked up from an argument in a train station with a boyfriend, and she's brilliant in that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the style. Again, it's that toolbox. It's the style of the film. So, this is going to kill me. The director has gone right out of my head. The guy who does This Is England.
Is this Shane Meadows?
Shane
Meadows, brilliant. Like, but that's the style. It's raw. It's instinctive.
I was
works.
I was in This Is England 90. It was background.
All right,
work,
Alison.
it was featured. No. And it is the most. If you've never worked with him, it is unbelievable. It was like a festival. They rocked up at like this festival thing, this hippie thing, and we were in the festival. And I've never ever. He doesn't. There's no action. There's no cut. He films continuously, stuff happening throughout, and gets what he needs. And then when he's got what he needs, he stops. And I've never ever. I mean, I've done a bunch of TV stuff and loads of background supporting artist stuff as well years ago, and I've never worked like that before. It was bizarre but fascinating to watch.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think.
But yeah, so I can see how picking somebody off the street for him would work, because he'll keep shooting until he gets the performance he needs. But if I can also see that can be problematic in terms of whether you get a consistent performance or not. Because that's the key, isn't it? If you're on a budget, you've got time limitations. The reason you want a trained actor is because they can consistently give you the performance that you need.
Yeah, exactly. It's comparing This Is England, say, to Bridgerton. Yeah. I don't think you could find somebody off the street and put them into something like Bridgerton.
It would be much harder, I think. Yeah. I still think, I mean, because, it's it happens in all sorts of areas of life. You might be an academy scout for one of the football teams, and you spot this kid who just has this amazing natural talent, and you're like, I need that kid. You're not just going to grab any kid off the street and hope they can play football. There's something about them. And also often I think that's because they're playing a character that is very close to who they are.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think Ken Loach does it a lot as well with his films. I know Chris Hitchin quite well. And he was telling me when he did Sorry We Missed You, like the main core actors were trained actors, but everybody else in that film was just local to Newcastle, to where they were filming. Grace, you've been quite quiet on this subject.
I know, I'm just taking it all in, because it's just like, because I'm thinking, oh yeah, I agree with that. Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. So I remember when I think the most I've learned, like I've done a lot of training in different little bits here and there, but the most I've learned is when you just go into a job. It's like you just go into a job not knowing, and just watching what's going on on set and watching what's going on. So I did a lot of Meisner when I was at drama school, and like to stay instinctive. But I implemented that when I did a lot of immersive work. But I learned a lot more from the immersive work than I did with the Meisner, if that makes sense. So it's a really hard balance, really. It's a really fine line, because part of me is I'm literally just so on the fence, because I always think, how different would I be had I not been to drama school? Would I be exactly the same? Would I be like, it's a really, I'm just taking it all in. I'm sorry, this is not constructive at all.
No, it really is, because my next question was actually going to be on that. So if drama schools are in trouble, which we can talk about in just a second, like I'd be interested to hear other people's opinions on that. Would rep coming back, would that be a good training ground for actors? Because then you are learning on the job.
Yeah, I think so. Isn't it Jude? Is it Judi Dench who started in? I don't know.
Pretty much
I think
every
all the,
I think,
yeah.
and like her first Ophelia that she did was absolutely panned or something like that. Like everyone, because it was like her first sort of go round, and everyone said, "Oh no, she'll never amount to anything." And she just kept, like, obviously she's amazing. So it's like, I think the fear of failing has, like, I feel like everyone sort of goes to drama school because they think they're missing out on something and it'll be the answer. Like, I think that people are too afraid to fail forward. So they go to drama school because they think that'll be the answer. I'll come out of drama school, I'll know exactly what I'm doing, and it will be fine. Like, I think that's what people go to drama school for, is like the secret answer. Whereas when you're learning on the job and you're failing forward, you learn so much more. It's like you said the other day, Petch, that if I'm learning, I'm succeeding.
Yeah.
And I feel like people have sort of forgotten that part of it. And I think that's what drama school is. Why drama school is such a good business is everyone thinks it's the secret thing that you attain to.
But it's not just acting now, though, is it? I mean, if you talk to musicians, they're saying the similar thing, because normally you would have a really rubbish first album. Look at me, I'm showing my age now. You'd have a really rubbish first album, and then you would develop through. Now you have that first one has to be right.
Has to be right. Yeah.
Because there's no proving ground anymore. You look at comedians coming up through the club scene. Again, it's all of those proving grounds, and rep was a proving ground for us. Even things like the bill. Every actor was on the bill. It was a proving ground. I think Doctors is a little bit like that now.
They're bringing the bill back, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Are they?
They're calling it Sun Hill.
So good.
Oh wow.
Oh great.
Because I was like, I've never got on the bill. But they were proving grounds where we could go, and that doesn't exist. The problem with rep, though, is that it's not financially viable.
No.
We can't afford to do that. There aren't the theatres anymore to do it. There isn't. People just don't go to the theatre as much anymore.
It's coming back to what Grace just said there as kind of a throwaway line. I don't think he meant it like that, but drama school is a business. They are there to earn money.
Yeah,
it's like anything that, though.
It is, isn't it? Like 15 grand a year.
But the one thing
ridiculous.
That's what I paid for my MA.
Wow.
That's every university course, though, isn't it?
I suppose so. One thing we haven't talked about, which I always felt with drama schools, and I've actually heard this from agencies, that if you do graduate from an accredited drama school, you do kind of get a year of leeway with casting directors, with agents, with all of those people who, normally wouldn't look at you, but because you've just graduated, they will at least see you.
Yeah.
So if you take hold, if you take hold of that opportunity, then I can see why that might be a really useful year post drama school to kind of go, here I am.
That's interesting, because I've heard casting directors say, when you come into the room, I don't look at your CV. The casting directors don't even print out the CVs now. They just want to see what you can do in the room. They don't care if you've been
but they've done something to get you to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Either you've got an agent who's got you seen by that casting director, or they've seen something either in your headshot or your show reel or your spotlight CV.
How have you got that agent?
Exactly.
Usually from a showcase or a third year performance or something. When you're talking about learning on the job, I think that's absolutely valid. Because in drama school, the third year is all focused on performances. It's you do show after show after show. And that's, for me personally, my first year, after 6 months, I had a really tragic thing. My sister took her own life, and I found her and had to kind of try and go back to drama school with that, having dealt with that. So the next half of the year, first year, and then into second year, it was all a bit of a mess. It wasn't until third year when I really kind of dedicated myself to performances and to character and to the fact that you're rehearsing, you've got something specific to focus on. Yeah, you learn so much more about like emotional regulation and how being able to tap into certain elements of yourself and let go of other parts, and because you're putting it in practice, aren't you?
Yeah.
Theory's all good, but you need to put it into practice.
Going back to that question you just posed a second ago, though, about how did you get that agent if it wasn't through a showcase and things like that, like complete transparency, David Carpenter, a member of Act on This, didn't go to drama school. He got his own headshots. To start off with, he got a mate to take his headshots, created his own show and reel, and then landed his first job on the Bay. So even that argument of drama school, like getting you in the room and stuff like that, I don't think it's that. I see
Not
where
so
you're
much
coming
now.
from.
No,
yeah,
it's
no.
changed.
It's
not so
definitely
much now.
changed.
Mm.
I just
It's
don't.
not the. Sorry,
sorry.
go on.
No, you go.
No, I was just saying, it's not the be all and end all of like when it was like Catherine Tate. Sort of, she was the only one in her class. She left Central, I think. She was the only one in her class not to get an agent, and she went up to the Edinburgh Fringe, did her show, and then suddenly was flooded with people. And it's like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think I don't know what, I've lost my train of thought.
She kind of made her own path, right?
Yeah,
exactly, yeah. And I think it's the same with David Carpenter. Like he didn't just sort of, he just decided that's what he wants. He went after it. And I think that's the key to, is the consistency and that drama school doesn't teach you. It sort of doesn't teach you the getting the actual job part of things.
No.
So you can be trained as much as, you know, in technique and stuff like that, but drama school doesn't teach you how to actually get the job, and that's most of the criteria of being an actor is the employability side of things.
When I was at college, there was 2 actors in my year who were phenomenal, and like they could have really, really made it. And I think both of them have dropped out now. And like I want, if you guys can answer this, or if people want to comment below, like I'd be interested to hear the statistics of this. I think a lot of people that go to drama school are in that kind of safety bubble of the 3 years where they get to experiment, they get to try, they get to fail, but all in that safety net. And then once they leave that, I think that the percentage of the people that drop out, that just have no staying power because they haven't had that resilience drilled into them. After a couple of years, they just fall by the wayside. I was talking to Ross earlier, who went to Man Met as well, Ollie, and he said out of his class of 30, only 4 people are still in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas people who choose to do this and don't go to drama school, who have that fight all the way through, because this is something that they really want to do, they're going to fight for it, they last a lot longer in the game.
Well, that's a funny thing to say, because I think if you choose to go to drama school, you want to be an actor a lot of the time. But the 3 years of doing it can sometimes, there's loads of people that dropped out literally the day it finished, because they learn through that 3 years that, you know, it's actually not what I want. Which, you know, they needed that experience. I'm worried that this is going to get into a bit of a hate on drama schools, because there is a lot of benefit to it.
This is what this is all about. I want people to challenge me and like change my point of view a bit as well.
There's benefits, but there's that thing that you said about doing it 3 years and coming out not feeling ready. Yeah, they don't prepare you to hustle properly. When I went, there wasn't enough camera training, and it's a bit of a false economy. You go there for 3 years doing every single day, you come out and it's like, okay, it's not every day. I have to wait for months and months before I can get a gig, and it, you know, they don't prepare the mentality side of things well enough. And then ongoing support, you know.
So maybe that's the point then, in terms of, you know, the whole Alra fiasco. I mean, I think it's difficult to comment on that because it's hard to see how that's just fallen out of nowhere, but obviously don't want to get into any legal wrangles here.
I taught a couple of movement workshops at Alra, sorry to interrupt you, and I just want to say they're brilliant people. The students at Alra North and the faculty are great. So
that's why it's difficult to see, you know, it just kind of collapsing. But anyway, maybe it is that this is the push to say that actually drama schools need to change, because, you know, realistically, if you don't have the financial wherewithal to just, you know, to give up everything and go, and then give up your life for a year afterwards to kind of promote yourself and build that thing. So, you know, the business part, I think, has to start coming into it. How can we get to this point? How could I get to sort of, you know, 45 years old and not know the stuff that I've learned through coming to act on this and other places as well? How is that not there and out there for, you know, and it's bizarre to me that we've got to this point and nobody's looking at how we become a business, because we are businesses. That's what we are.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, that's very
the thing
interesting.
the thing I think that there are quite a lot of positives from drama school. I'm just gonna add in a little bit of like let's get into some positives. So I mean, it taught you how to warm up properly, like even for theatre and screen. Like it taught you how to emotionally prep and stuff like that. It taught you to have rhino skin, because teachers would break you down to build you up and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like, had I not gone to arts ed in particular, I would not be able to take criticism. I definitely wouldn't be. And I think the regular critique that you experience in drama school is the judgment that you experience outside. So I think there's that element that it just prepares you for the fact that you're not always perfect, but that's okay. I think, and like you said, Petch, at the beginning, like the actual technique side of things for like singing and looking after your body, and because if you're on set for several months at a time, you're going to have to stay healthy, and you're going to have to be able to look after yourself. So that's something that drama school did teach you that I don't think you'd get elsewhere with little pieces of training, if that makes sense. That consistency, it teaches you that. So devil's advocate, I'd say, like, yes, drama school is, I think the money side of things is a big problem, but there are elements that you do get with consistent training that you wouldn't get elsewhere, just purely because of the intensity of it, that it prepares you for, it is quite an intensive career in the sense that you have to put in the work consistently to get results. So you have to implement the things you learnt in drama school daily. You have to practice it, because yes, when you left after 3 years, it is a very sort of sudden shock of like, okay, I'm not going to be working every day. This is weird. But if you practice what you've learnt every day, then you won't feel like behind, if that makes sense.
No, totally. The whole breaking you down to build you up thing is always interesting. Like, I hear this a lot from people that have come out of acting drama school, and I don't know how I feel about that, if I'm honest. Like, do I really need to be stripped down? Like, I mean, I think Ollie can talk about this a lot more because of being in the army and things like that, because I hear that's what an army officer would do. And
even the army's stopping doing that now.
But that's it. Like, you need that toughness to go to war and things like that. We're talking about acting here. Exactly. We're talking about being ourselves, because that's again who we're going to play, at least at the start of our career. So talk to me about. I
have a huge issue with breaking down to build back up, because again, I think, I can't remember who said it earlier, but you were talking about clones. And I think that's what it produces. It produces, a set thing. And it's like, the whole point is we are who we are because of the experiences that we've had.
Yeah.
I lost my dad 6 years ago. I lost my mum 3 years ago. And those are immensely important aspects of who I am.
Yeah.
And this idea that somehow by being broken down, in my experience, when you break something and you put it back together, it's not necessarily better.
In Japanese culture, that's the opposite, but
yeah, but it's like,
there's that art of breaking thing, isn't it?
Really, and it looks beautiful but it looks beautiful because it becomes something else, something different. And I think that's the key. When they break you down and build you back up, it's like there is the assumption that they're going to make you better, and that is generally not the case. And also, who qualified these people to do that?
Are there people at drama school, I don't know this, who are mental health experts? Because that is such a massive thing. Like, if they break you down to the point where your mental health is playing up, that can't
so this phrase, I have a bit of a funny thing with this phrase, breaking down. We're not machines. You can't literally break us apart and put us back together in a different way. I think that phrasing, break you down to build you up, it's impossible. You can't strip someone down to the bare bones.
You can emotionally abuse someone. Sorry.
So you can't strip them down and make them just a massive body and then build them back up. You can challenge them emotionally, which I think is going to attest to what you're about to say. You can push people emotionally and put them in difficult situations to grow from. And whether you believe in that as a thing to do or not, then that's a different matter. But I think drama school, the army, what they have in similarities is that you have to kind of forego ego, sacrifice yourself, put yourself in a team, and work towards a common goal, which is creating a story. Or going to war. So it's funny how you look at it. I'm only kind of popping in different bits to see.
No, that's totally fine. But on that, I'd say that everybody's different. So breaking, to use Ollie's word, to challenge them emotionally, you can challenge somebody emotionally and they can go a lot further than, say, somebody else.
Yeah, it's got to be in a safe space.
Yeah, and it's how you do that. Yeah. Because, I mean, I've watched so-called incredibly experienced directors who, obviously I won't mention, but are, very well known, who have just basically stood and insulted someone repeatedly because that's going to help their performance. And all it did was give someone a breakdown because it's not done in a, because they're not emotionally mature enough to be able to kind of do that. And that's my worry, is that we have a lot of, particularly, when you're in your teens and early 20s and you're discovering who you are, this person in a huge position of power says to you, this is vital to your training, and you're kind of going to do what they say. So whilst I totally agree, Ollie, I think that there is a huge thing about being challenged and being pushed, and we all need to do that, because otherwise, we sit in our lovely safety nets and we don't grow. But I think there is certainly there's a worry for me that people who are doing this are not fully aware of the potential problems, I guess.
I think it goes back to what you said about the individual teachers.
Yeah.
Because there was, when my sister, passed away and I had that thing and decided to go back to drama school, I went back to do a scene study on three sisters and play Vashinin, whose wife constantly tries to kill herself. So I've literally just dealt with suicide and have to come and play a part. And the guy, one of the tutors who was directing it, after the whole thing and he assessed me, went, I don't think he knew how to handle it. And he was very insensitive. And he basically said, you need to stop feeling sorry for yourself. And this is an experience you can use. This only happened a month ago. Do you know what I mean? So
it's funny,
isn't it?
So there's kind of three things that have just come up there, which I don't know if we're going to get time to cover them all. But the first thing, Alison, you just said there, like, when people go to drama school, they are young. They're 18, 20, 21. They've not had that life experience yet. And everyone, I know when I was auditioning for drama school, I felt like if I didn't get in it, like before the age of 25, I'm past it, which we know now from so many experiences. You can start acting at whatever age. But do you think, like, the age to get into drama school is too young? Do you think people need to go out and have that life experience and learn who they are first to be able to deal with that emotional challenge?
Yeah, I do. Because when I went to drama school, being totally transparent, I went to drama school, I was too young to go, because I was asked to leave several times because I wasn't ready, like emotionally. And it's, instead of supporting me, they sort of went, you need to leave. And I'm really proud of myself for saying no. I literally went, no, I'm staying because I want to learn. And that it built up that strength. But in hindsight, I'm now where I am now. I'm so much more positive. I'm so much more receptive. I would say if I went to drama school now, I would have learned so much more. Yeah. Had I not gone I think I was 21, and I just wasn't ready. And it was just completely different to how I feel now. And I'd be a much better learner because I know myself better now. Yeah. But that's just me personally. Yeah.
But having done that experience at drama school then, would you be different now with the mindset you've got now if that hadn't happened? So, like, I suppose you pick up extra training now.
You're right. Yeah. I'm not thought of it like that. That's true.
Everything that's happened has led you to this point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That is actually really true. I don't know if I'd be the same person without that experience. That is, I'm out.
One of the other things I reckon we've not mentioned, you talked about rhino skin, Grace. I think
Yeah.
the people that you train with as well has a massive influence on that. Like the other actors that you're with, because let's not beat around the bush. Some are absolute knobs. Like drama students are idiots a lot of the time. There's two in particular at my drama school who are absolute turds, and I still get like heebie-jeebies when I think about them. And they can have a massive influence on the group. So it's about the teachers, the culture, the environment, the support network. So I think it has to be taken on an individual basis, you know.
Yeah,
completely.
Yeah.
Having done a degree, one of the joys, and I say this, I'm so sorry, I apologize to drama students everywhere. One of the joys for me was that I wasn't spending every minute with drama students. I purposely lived with non-drama students, except an odd one or two, because as much as I loved the immersive nature of it, I was really glad to.
They're so dramatic, aren't they? Actors.
Yeah.
Who'd want to spend time with actors?
But also, I think it just shows you a different side of things, and I'm going to big up degrees for a minute, because I would say that the experience I got, and my degree, we had to do in the first year, we had to do a number of credits from other disciplines. So I did classics and I did astronomy.
Nice.
Alongside my drama degree, and that was a huge benefit, because you look at the world in a different way, I think. And then certainly I think there's a lot, actually. We've criticized drama schools a lot, but I do think that there's a lot you can get from it. And I think you can see when people have some kind of training, I don't think you can necessarily see where they come from, but you can tell people who've trained, because, from a rehearsal process point of view, making sure that you've got the stamina to stay through a rehearsal process, that all of that stuff that kind of really helps. But I think you can get an awful lot of that from doing a degree. A lot of what we did was practical, but I've got the theory to back it up as well. So when I'm going into text and stuff, I know where it all comes from. And I think some drama schools do that, to be fair. They do, a bit of the history of theatre and all of that sort of stuff. But I think it does help. We did film credits as part of what we did. Yeah. So, looking at how to analyze a scene from a film, how to look at how it's built up, all of that kind of makes sense too.
Amazing,
But then I would probably say, if you can do it, go and do a 1-year course then at drama school. If you're in that position to do it.
This thing, you can tell a trained actor because they can do this, that, and the other. There's a massive push in the industry now for non-actors.
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you think it's almost because obviously casting directors and directors love to find the next shiny person, that they've created the thing for. Do you think there's a little bit of it inhibits you slightly? Because I feel that a little bit. They want genuine. I saw a breakdown a few months ago for a 2-line part for a restaurant manager. So they wanted people with genuine restaurant management experience for a 2-line part.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing only part of the casting, if I'm honest. I think what they're doing is they're throwing it up, saying we're open to seeing these as well.
That's a good point, yeah.
So I think the actors are still getting seen for it, but it's like, why not see somebody with genuine experience? Because they're going to act, they know the world inside out. So let's see them against the actors. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to get it. Doesn't mean the actor's necessarily going to get it. But I see a lot of people kicking off a lot of fuss about, they're asking for real people. But let's face it, actors are real people.
I know, exactly.
It doesn't stop you from being seen for it.
Just enables more people.
The only time I have a problem with that is occasionally when you see the breakdowns for both and the money is significantly higher for the actor than it is for the non-actor.
Yeah.
And you have to say to yourself, that's not fair, that's not reasonable. But most of the time I think they're just trying to, because I mean, having listened to what the casting directors say a lot on the interviews that they've done with Ross and wherever, they're under pressure from clients to provide a certain person that they are looking for, and so they've got to do whatever they can to find that person.
I think casting directors do get a lot of slack on this, and we've got to remember that they're just employed by the production company as well. So there's the director above them, there's the producers above them, so it doesn't just, the casting directors aren't the be all and end all. They're not this magical mystical gatekeeper. They're not, like, they're working for someone else. So
must be hard, like.
It really must. Coming back to drama school though, teaching, we've mentioned about the teachers quite a bit. how relevant are the teachers in drama school? Not to throw any shade, because I know people come in, like you, Ollie, you came in and did courses for Aura. I know other actors. I know even like Peter Hunt at Hollyoaks and David Crowley. Again,
I'm teaching on the after as well at the minute.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm teaching on the after as well at the minute, which is the Yorkshire Academy of Film and TV.
Excellent. So I know they get guest teachers in, but their core tutors, their core faculty, I always find are people who used to be in the industry but haven't worked in the industry for a long time, and the things that they're teaching is now irrelevant.
Oh, it's a bit of a sweeping statement, I think.
I disagree with some teachers. I agree with some teachers. So some of the teachers I had at drama school, that absolutely applied. But there's a couple of teachers who genuinely just wanted to build you and they kept current, and so I had a tutor, Penny. She taught me Alexander technique, and she was absolutely incredible. Love Penny. She was incredible, and every student loved her because she loved you. She really wanted to build you up, and that's why she was such a great teacher. And then on the other hand, I remember one of my early teachers, I won't say where they taught me because then they'll know who they are. I told them that I got into accredited training, and they went, really? Like that? And I was like, no. And so I think teachers can make a huge difference, and I think when they want to share their knowledge, they are imperative in your development. So I think they can make or break you, which is a horrible saying, but I think some teachers are teaching you outdated stuff and just religiously using that material, and it becomes outdated and it becomes irrelevant. But some teachers really care about what they're doing and do build you. And
I think the whole, this isn't just necessarily drama school. I think this is just education in general. I think the whole system's outdated.
Oh, mate, yeah.
At the time when education was brought into existence, it was when we were working in factories and things like that. So we had to work to a schedule. We had to take our breaks at certain times, and that's what it was preparing you for, was that working.
Well, and we had no understanding of how people learn then either,
exactly.
and what was conducive to learning. I think that's changed a lot.
Exactly.
I think, the one thing I would say in terms of the teachers, and I think this is really important for anybody who is wanting to do any kind of actor training, is look at the people who are teaching you. You know, particularly a lot of screen acting classes and stuff, you look at the teachers and you think, okay, now sometimes it's because they're good teachers and that's what they do, they teach. But some people it's just, oh well, I've had a bit part in this so I can teach now. I think you have to look at particularly acting tutors, look at what they do. Do they have the kind of work that you want to get? And if they do, then they've probably got a lot to teach you. If they're still at a similar kind of stage in the career to maybe where you are at, or even not where you've gone further, then I think you have to start questioning what is it. And you can do that by talking to other people who've had classes with them or whatever, so you can find out. But I think there is a lot of not so good training out there, as well as amazing training, and I think you have to be really cautious.
Playing devil's advocate on that, I think not all great acting coaches, I'm going to say in inverted commas, are actors themselves. Like the analogy I use is boxing. Like there are some really good boxing coaches who have never stepped foot in the ring, but they just know the craft and the technique of how to be a good boxer.
But that's why I said, though, if they're a good teacher, because some people are great teachers and are brilliant at it.
Always look at the body research.
And look at what they do. And if they're a good teacher, then awesome, go and learn from them and soak it all up. But part of that actually as well is, as learners, we have a responsibility. When I left my job teaching BTEC, I left on good terms, so I helped with the interviews for the next tutor. And when they did the interviews, my students were in the classes. They had to do like a teaching session, and they said to the head of BTEC turned to me, she said, "Your students are making that teacher look better than they are." And I said, well, that's because the most important thing for me is saying to them, what can you get from this?
Yeah.
Even if what's being offered isn't ideal, there's probably something you can take.
Yeah.
So you have to find what it is that you can learn from that, so that you're not
lessons
wasting
in everything.
time.
Yeah. Even if it's not like what not to do, at least you're learning something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting close to the wrap up now, because I know, Grace, you've got to go for your muggle job at any moment. Before we do wrap up quickly, are drama schools in trouble? And if they are, what do you think? I know it's a really broad statement and we can't fix it, but what do you think? I know Alison touched on it a little bit earlier. What do you think needs to happen in order for them to get better and to survive?
Oh,
I don't know.
I have no idea if they're in trouble as a whole, but I think what they do need to do is maybe address the majority of the industry's moved in front of a camera, haven't they? Or, you know, in technology and stuff and motion capture and all this sort of stuff. I think there needs to be a broader look at how an actor can work.
Yeah.
What different parts of the industry they can work in and where they can find work, and then teach them how to get work, how to build relationships, maintain networks, which is personally, I found that quite difficult. Did really well during lockdown to start new relationships with people in the industry, but maintaining it, I found it really difficult.
Yeah, I saw you tweet about that earlier. Yeah.
I don't tweet very often, but when I do, it's a little bit of a doozy. Yeah, so I think that there needs to be a lot more work done around what I've just said there, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I personally think that this is a bit too liberal, but I think the focus on money rather than actual, like, what the actual output is from student. I think that's what's made it so tricky, because the elite drama schools, the top ones, they've just become this sort of it's like they're like the Tesco's of the supermarket. It's like there's like this unreachable bar, and
like
and
hierarchy.
It's purely because it's purely because they've got the most money, and that's really sad. I mean, now it's kind of changing, because some drama schools are axing the audition fees, which I think is such a good move.
That needs to go.
100%.
Because that's just insane. Like, when I auditioned for Lipper years ago, and I was literally there for about an hour, and I paid 40 quid, and I was like,
but it's not just 40 quid though, is it?
Why have I done this?
Travel.
It's
travel. I traveled
if
up
you're
from
staying
London.
over, day off work, like it all adds up.
And it's such an investment, like, joining this career, because you do have to do the headshots, the show reel, you put in so much money, and like, learning how to do that, it just feels a bit of an extra jab if you're having to pay so much to learn how to pay more. Like, it just and I think we're missing out on this, all the talent that haven't gone to drama school purely because they can't afford it. We're missing all that. We're missing all those stories, like, and I think the importance of money is a sad factor of drama schools, and I don't know the full story, but that seems to be why Aura had difficulties. It seems to be something financial, apparently, and it's just really sad that takes paramount over.
Even more so now, with the fees being so much higher. Like,
it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I was really lucky in that I managed to defer my place for Arts Ed, and I said, I'm really sorry, I can't afford it. Can I move it to next year? And they said yes. So I worked my arse off in a bar and tried to save as much as I could, and I managed to afford it hook or by crook. But I've still got so much student loan from my BA that I've paid off £54 for. Woohoo!
I didn't even know that, man. It's gone.
And it's just really sad that money is taking importance over telling good stories. It's just that's my input.
I think one of the things, though, is we do have to sort of just remind ourselves sometimes, though, that we're in a very oversubscribed industry.
Yeah.
That there are far more actors than there is work, and so there's got to be some kind of element of that, because there just isn't room for all of us.
No.
And I think so even as somebody who could never have afforded to go to drama school, I can see why there is a competitive element to it, because there kind of has to be. But what we as an industry then have to do is look at other routes in for people from other if you want to get more working class actors, you have to recognize that you're going to take them in the business later. They're not all going to start at 18, because they have to go out and earn a living.
Yeah.
So they're going to come in their 30s, in their 40s, and sometimes 50s and 60s, when they finally got a bit of money behind them, and they can take that time to do it. So I think we just have to look at how we make things accessible. And it is possible, because things are changing, and things have changed a huge amount.
Yeah.
And I think we forget that sometimes, because we're in the middle of it. So I think we have to be realistic and go, do you know what? It's actually an awful lot better than it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I can live in Bridlington and still work as an actor. That wouldn't have happened 20 years ago.
No.
I would have been, completely ignored. There weren't Manchester castings, there weren't Leeds castings and Newcastle castings, and it still is to an extent, but it's getting better. And I think that's something we have to grab hold of. Is let's recognise that our industry is changing, and support the positive stuff when it's happening.
100%.
Yeah, it's a big old push for diversity and stuff as well, because look at the demographic on this call right now. It's indicative of how the industry has kind of represented itself over years, and now it's finally starting to open it up to different ethnicities and abilities. And I think the pandemic's helped with accessibility. So hopefully it moves in the right direction and continues to do so.
So drama school, for what it's worth, guys, if you're listening to this call or you're watching us, thank you so much for staying this far. It is useful. It's not the be all and end all. If you're worrying that you can't afford it, if you're worrying that people like you aren't in there and you're going to stand out, or you don't think you can handle the emotional breakdowns or whatever, it's not the be all and end all. It's not the only way into the industry. Some of the best people that we've had on Act on This, people who are Academy winners, BAFTA winners, Best Soap Opera winners, didn't train at drama school. But that's not to say they didn't train. Training is vital. You need training to progress as an actor. If you're not learning, you're basically standing still. And as Grace said earlier, even if you're failing, you are learning, therefore you are succeeding. So I hope this chat has been useful to people who are going through that whole, I didn't go to drama school, so I'll never make it. Or if you're in that kind of space now where you're wondering whether it's the right thing for you to go to drama school or not. There are pros and cons to everything. I don't think the age-old debate is ever going to get answered whether drama school is the only way, is the best way in or not. But there's pros and cons to everything in life. Guys, the question I ask all my guests before we go, if you can name one feature from Act on This is the main site, not the First TV or Fast Track or anything like that. One webinar, mastermind that everyone should listen to. What would it be?
Everyone says Babu Cisse, just because it was good. It was so good. It was just so good. I just love how he was when he talks about self tapes and stuff, he was like, oh, don't do this, don't do that, and he just goes nonsense. And you're just like, yes, Babu. Everything he said was just really it. It just cut through the rubbish and just got to the I wasn't going to swear, Petch, but
it's
there you go.
Ollie's already messed that up.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant.
You as well, actually. You did.
You said shitty. I remember.
You did.
All right, telltale.
But yeah,
no one likes a grass.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, Babu Cisse's one. Just watch that. Yeah, really good, really good.
Alison?
There's so many, and I don't know, but I would say I particularly love Jordan Hogg just because he's brilliant anyway. And he's such a, he's I just love the way he talks about everything and his positivity and his, and he gave me my first TV job as well.
Nice one, John.
Well, my first recent one anyway. Yeah, he was my Corrie one.
Oh, bless him. He's going to Hollywood soon. He's got to take us all with us.
Hollywood Hogg.
Hollywood Hogg. Yeah. Ollie, what do you think?
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. I'm just glad I managed to think of one that wasn't the same as yours. Obviously, there's the one with Stephen Graham and Boiling Point and all that sort of stuff. But the Lewis Arnold and Sasha ones, I think, are such a great insight to hear a director talk so openly and an editor talk so openly about what an actor needs to do to make their job easier. I think they're brilliant. And they go on for hours, so you get your money's worth.
I thought you'd say Des Hamilton, Ollie, because he swears so much. I thought you'd like that one.
Love him.
Guys, thank you so much to all of you listening on the audio experience. And you've come this far. Thank you. If you are listening to us on wherever you find your podcasts, please give us a 5-star rating, drop us a review, help spread the word to other actors that you know who might be going to drama school, who are thinking about drama school, or who you have heard complain that they didn't go to drama school. Let them listen to this. Help us help you spread the word. If you are watching this on YouTube, guys, you know what to do. You smash that like button, you hit subscribe, you ring that notification bell, keep in contact with every time we release some new content here at Act on This. What else, guys? Follow my amazing guests over on Twitter. We have at Alison Saxton. We have at Oliver Devote. We have at Gracie Blackman. They tweet some fantastic stuff. Go support them in all their careers. Alison, Ollie, and Gracie, they're smashing it in their career. Gracie's looking for her first TV role. We're going to shower her with love. It's going to happen. Please follow me at Petch_Act on This for all my Act on This work, at Lee Petcher for all my personal stuff. I just went to see Hamilton recently, so I'm posting all about that. Follow us at Act on This TV, whatever social medias you've got. We've got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If you're on Facebook, join us at the Facebook group. You don't need to be a paid member to join that group at all. It's full of, I think we've got about 10,000 members in there now, guys. Full of supportive, wonderful people, just like the three we've got on screen here right now. People that will support you, and if you're feeling down, will help pick you up and offer a shit ton of advice, as Ollie would say. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything you guys would like to say before we clock off? Just do it. Join. Seriously. Yeah. I don't know how much it is now. I'm still on the early amount as well. Yeah, you're on like £10 a month. I'm a £10 a month member. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I didn't want to mention the amounts, but yeah, me too. But it's lucky so and so penny. The first Netflix job I got paid for my Act on This subscription. I worked it out with my £10 a month. It paid for it for about 20 years or something. 20 from one job. Yeah. 20 years. Grace, how much are you paying at the moment? I would not like to comment on that. She would not like to comment. It's not much, though. Is it? But this is the thing. It's still cheaper than a cup of coffee a week. Yeah. And as we get bigger and the more that we produce, unfortunately, it is a business. So prices will eventually raise. We think it's dirt cheap at the price that we're charging at the moment. It will get more expensive, but if you get in with us at this price now, that's the price you pay. I mean, we look after our own. Alison, Ollie, they've been with us for so many years. We've not asked them to pay anymore, and we never will. If you do join us for the annual membership, it's £247 a year. It's in that you will save £5 a month, should you be paying monthly, and you get the Ultimate Contacts database, which, guys, I don't know if you've got that. I mean, I paid separately for it. Yeah, it's worth it. It's so good. 70 plus hours I spent on that contacts database, and you've got every casting director and agent's email address and what they've cast and how to get in contact with them. I've done the work for you. So it's definitely worth it. thank you guys so much, and thank you for you guys watching and listening along. We're going to say my catchphrase, so it's not Ross's. Yeah, I've got one. You wouldn't know this because you haven't watched any, Ollie.
I will now.
You will now. I'll watch this one because it's in it.
Oh, definitely.
So, guys, I say ta for coming, and then you point at the camera and go, "You've been a right laugh." So, in 3, 2, 1, ta for coming.
You've been a right laugh.
Right laugh.
Yes.
Yeah.